At this time, I'll call the committee of the whole meeting of the school board of school directors to order. Will you call the roll again, please, Mrs. Asher?
Mrs. Becker? Here. Mr. Hauser?
Here.
Mrs. COTW? Here. Dr. Laughlin? Here. Mr. Muller?
Here.
Mr. Music?
Here.
Mr. Palmer? Dr. George?
You're here.
Here. Thank you. Solicitor's report, Mr. James.
No report, Madam.
Thank you so much. Legislative report, Dr. Laughlin.
Again, we have the charter schools splitting, nothing's moving through, and now, of course, new Jim Brewster, who's from Allegheny, Westmoreland, so at least out our way, is planning on introducing another package of legislation. And one of the things that he would require besides pre-kindergarten, different things, and teacher certification would be that charter schools would require all the teachers in charter schools to be certified instead of the current status, which is just 75%. So I also, a state representative also wants to introduce the legislation banning the use of scented products such as perfumes, colognes, body sprays in schools that have students with fragrance allergies. Big topic. The charter school one is just at this point, there's nothing that's moving. If anybody's satisfied.
Okay, thank you. Under education and planning, before we do the student report, I forgot at the reorganization meeting to say that if anyone would like a different committee assignment, please let me know this week. If no one wants to move, we cannot appoint anyone else to finance or property support and supply because they already have 4 members and adding another one would make a quorum. So if anyone is interested in changing committee assignments, please let me know ASAP and we'll make those new appointments next week. Thank you. And I'm going to turn this over now to the students, Adam and Emma Kate, and they have a report for you on the logo. I told them they would make this good because they're most of the meeting. No pressure.
Hello.
Hi.
As you all know, it has been many years since Greater Latrobe School District has had an identifiable centralized Wildcat logo, which has caused several dilemmas among various school groups. Sports teams' uniforms and club t-shirts have been designed with many different Wildcat images, and this eliminates district unity. In fact, while investigating this situation over the past several months, Student Council found up to 14 different logos that were used. Most recently, Student Council purchased the banners that have been hung on the high school grounds, but because there were no centralized official Wildcat logos, the decision of what to be placed on them was a very difficult process. In addition, Student Council wanted to purchase new clothing to sell in the student store, but without a designated logo, this presented an obvious problem. We decided to use the logo present on this shirt, that one in the middle, and that is also the logo that we would like to present to you tonight in hopes that it will be adopted as the sole representative district icon, which we feel is necessary for district unity and to enhance the school pride. We feel now is a good time to implement this new design, as it is modern and symbolizes the changes, such as the athletic complex, that have recently come to our district. Next, Adam is going to talk about the results of a poll that was taken to determine the students' opinion on new logo options.
Okay, this poll was given to 1,752 students in grades 7 through 12. And it was given throughout all the homerooms in junior high and senior high, and it was conducted by the Senior High Student Council with the support of both Mrs. Swigert and both of the school principals. The idea of this poll was finalized during a meeting between Kate, myself, student council officers and advisors, senior high principals, and Mrs. Swigert, and it was meant to discuss needing a centralized logo and which logo to settle on. So of these 1,752 students that voted, 60% voted for that logo that's on the shirt being passed around, because it is used by multiple sports teams, clubs, new sign outside of Mountain View Elementary School, and even on the district website. We feel that this logo is a great symbol of the progress and change that Latrobe has made over the years, and that is truly unique to our district, and there's nothing like it out there. It is always important to have a unifying symbol that anybody can look at and know who it represents and what it represents. So with that in mind, we, along with the vast majority of the student body, believe that this logo is what does that the best. So thank you all for your time, and if there are any questions for Kate or myself, you can ask those now.
Any questions?
Do you have pictures of what the other ones look like? Second, third, fourth?
Yeah, we can share that with anybody on the school board that wants it. Get it to you by the end of the week at some point.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, no problem. We can get that.
I think I have it as an email, and I can forward it to them.
Okay,
Because you
well,
had sent me the results, if somebody did with the 4 pictures, I can send them out. One was a paw print, correct?
yes, so
And the other 2 were,
different cat designs.
the cat design, yeah, 2 of the cat.
Any other questions for the students?
I'd just like to thank Kate and Adam for taking this initiative and leading it. Since I've been here, as I referenced to them when we met, there's been conversations about a logo. And until someone took the initiative to finalize it, or at least take it forward to the students, I don't think it was ever going to be finished. So congratulations to both of you for your leadership.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your report. The only other thing I have under education and planning is the next curriculum committee meeting will be held on January 21st at 5:30 p.m. here in the CSC. That will be before the regular board meeting in January, and you're welcome to attend. And I'll turn it over to finance, Mrs. Elder.
Just got my computer working. Next week, we'll have the treasurer's report, payment of bill or budgetary transfer on our agenda as usual. And the finance committee meeting will be day after tomorrow at 10 in the morning at the Central Admin Building. And we'll have minutes of that meeting available for you before you read about what's on, what the treasurer's report, the payment of bills, and budgetary transfers are. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Elder. Property and supply, Mrs. Kozer.
Yes, we'll have a project update from Hank and Kurt on December 10th. We'll be awarding the spring sports bids. Will be an agenda item. Also, we'll ask for motion to advertise for general school supplies, art and science supplies, paper, custodial, electrical supplies, and the fall and winter and spring sports equipment and supplies for the 14-15 school year. And finally, we'll have a property and supply committee meeting this Thursday at 3:30. Is that good?
Thank you, Mrs. Kozar. Student activities and recreation, Dr. Laughlin.
I will have the winter senior nights for you next week.
Thank you. Community relations, Dr. Zorch.
No report.
Thank you. Westmoreland Intermediate Unit, they canceled our last meeting because it was the night of inclement weather, and it's rescheduled, of course, for December the 10th, which is our next board meeting. So I will get the minutes and everything report to you on that in January. The EWCTC Joint Operating Committee, Mrs. Kozer.
Please attend.
Is it okay if they still haven't sent back their,
Yeah, you can just call. Just call.
okay. Board policy, pardon?
They call you eventually too.
Board policy, PSBA liaison, Mrs. Elder.
I have no report about PSDA liaison, but we are going to have some changes in our board policy for
school teaching assistant, and he just recently is accepting a position at Delphi as a math teacher. So we wish him well. In addition, we will have a name to ask the board to appoint as a first assistant softball coach on December 10th. As well as tonight, we'd like to talk about 6th grade camp. And we all know here, I believe, that it's an institution in Greater Latrobe. And honestly, the person who is the director of 6th grade camp is also an institution, and that is Donna Bates. And Donna has made known to us that this will be her last year operating as the director of 6th grade camp. So we're going to talk about the future of it, and I'll turn this over to Mr. Prempeh.
Well, I think that Mrs. Swigert has done a pretty good job of talking about it. Camp has had 2 directors in its over 30-year history. One was Dr. Leonard. When Dr. Leonard retired, the torch was passed to Mrs. Bates. They both truly understood the outdoor experience and the importance that it had in an elementary student's life as that capstone experience as they leave 6th grade. So when Mrs. Bates announced that, or informed me that she would do 1 more year, we had to look for someone who would be a replacement who understood the philosophy, understood the importance, but at the same time also had a working knowledge of camp. Planning for camp is a year-round job. It takes many hours. We recently moved to a new campsite, Camp Heritage, that we're very excited about, but it is very expansive. There's lots of planning, lots of work that has to be done. So I was excited to talk to Mrs. Borio and see if she would continue that tradition. She certainly understands the philosophy and the meaning behind it. She's been to camp for 8 years. She does work with Mrs. Bates already with camp very closely. She's there the entire camp time already, so she understands the enormity of camp, not to overstate it, but there is an enormity there. So we're excited. She is currently a phys ed teacher that splits between Bagley and Mountain View. So she is in the elementary area. She hits 2 of the 3 buildings all the time. When she's at Bagley, she's 10 minutes away from LES, and she has a great working relationship with the folks in elementary. She's coached before, just like Mrs. Bates, and I believe that that's an important piece of the 6th grade camp resume, because you've got to coach the kids where they need to go. So I appreciate that she's agreed to do it.
And Melissa is here tonight, so thank you very much for coming, and thank you for accepting the responsibility of 6th grade camp. I just really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Mrs. Swigert, if I could interject one thing.
Absolutely.
There'll be 1 more assistant coach hired next week. If you remember, with the resignation of Brittany Sedlock, we're going to have to replace the assistant girls basketball coach next week.
Thank you. So we would be adding assistant girls basketball